With March Madness about to start in college basketball, I felt like this would be a good time to start looking forward to the 2024 NBA draft. Most people think that the 2024 class is a little bit weaker, especially when compared to the past few draft classes we've seen, but I still think that this class is loaded with a lot of really intriguing prospects that I'm sure NBA teams would be more than happy to add to their roster. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started into this and take a look at my top 14 of my big board for the 2024 NBA draft. My number one player is the 6'10" wing from France, Zaccharie Risacher. Risacher obviously has great positional size, but being able to dribble, pass, and shoot at a high level while still being an active defender is definitely a plus for NBA teams. I think Risacher has the highest ceiling in this draft, and I think he would be a very smart selection to go first overall, regardless of who's making the pick. My number two player is the 6'8" wing from Colorado, Cody Williams. Williams is averaging right around 14 points on just below 60% shooting from the field this season. I think Williams looks like he could develop into a first or second scoring option at the NBA. And just looking at his body, I think he also looks like he's primed to fill out quite a bit when he makes it to the next level. And if this is the case, I think that he's a pretty prototypical scoring wing and would be worth taking with the top 3 pick in this year's draft. My number 3 player is the 7'1" big man from Australia, Alex Sarr. Sarr's a defensive monster with the physical tools to continue expanding his game both on offense and defense at the next level. A lot of people think that he can develop his jump shooting. I'm not as much of a buyer, but I think that what he offers on the defensive end really makes up for that and makes him a very high contributing player at the next level. My number 4 player is the 6'6" guard from UConn, Stephon Castle. Castle's draft range really varies depending on who you talk to. I'm really high on him for a lot of different reasons, but I love how he's able to attack different angles, blocking off defenders from recovering. He does a fantastic job of scoring in the mid-range and is able to knock down threes as well as affect the game on the defensive end. I honestly see a lot of similarities in his game to SGA. Obviously, he has a long ways to go to catch SGA, but I believe in his offensive upside, even if he doesn't score the same way as prototypical NBA stars. My number 5 player is the 6'3" guard from Kentucky, Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard is honestly kind of an impact merchant on the basketball court. He does a lot of things very well. The one area of improvement I see for him is his ability to attack off the dribble, but I don't know if this is going to be real impactful at the next level, as I see him transitioning to more of a defensive first role player. And when I say defensive first, I know that may sound weird because he's 6'3", but he's just extremely active. You can't leave him open on jump shots. He's gonna find a way to help your team win a basketball game. My number 6 player is the 6'7" wing from the G League Ignite, Ron Holland. Ron Holland hasn't had a great stretch playing with the G League, but everything that we've seen from him, you can tell that he does have the potential to become an impactful NBA player. I think the big things that really kind of lock him in as a top 10 pick for me all kind of stem from his physical attributes. He's a great athlete, long, active defender. I don't think it'll take much time at all for the defensive side to translate to the NBA, but he does need to get the shooting figured out, or this will really hurt his development at the next level. My number 7 player is the 6'10" forward from the G League Ignite, Matas Buzelis. Buzelis has recently been a pretty big riser for me. I can definitely see why he would be such a valuable prospect on the offensive end. He has struggled quite a bit defensively, but I don't think that this is primarily what teams are going to be looking at. I think he offers so much on the offensive end in being, a 6'10" shot creator, is able to finish plays inside, but I don't think he'll be asked to be a physical presence. All in all, he is a solid prospect. I may have undervalued him, but I think he's definitely worth looking into. My number 8 player is the 6'7" guard, Nikola Topic. Topic is a really intriguing prospect for me. I think that he may be the best playmaking and ball distributing player in this draft. He's really impressed with a lot of his pick and roll play, as well as transition offense, both finishing and passing out to open shooters. My biggest concern is his ability to compete with the athleticism at the NBA level. But if he is able to get this figured out, I think that he's a great, tone setter for offenses. I think he is especially a good fit with the Spurs potentially. My number 9 player is the 6'2" guard from Kentucky, Rob Dillingham. Dillingham is pretty easily my biggest riser from this season. I didn't have a lot of faith in him coming into the year, but oh boy, he's a blast to watch. He's easily my favorite player to watch, but his self-creation on offense, I think, is kind of one of one in this draft class. I could definitely see him going higher than 9, just for the offensive upside in itself. The defensive end has been a little bit of a struggle for him, but he's starting to get figured out how to use his quickness and just want to on the defensive end to create an impact that his physicality doesn't really provide him the opportunity to show. My number 10 player is the 6'10" forward for the G League Ignite, Tyler Smith. Unlike Rob Dillingham, I think Tyler Smith is pretty boring to watch, but I also think he's a well-rounded player who kind of has the game figured out, knows his role, and knows how to be effective playing that role. I've been really impressed with his jump shooting this season. I didn't think this would translate super well, but he's been effective at it. And like I said, he's a smart player, knows how to impact the game, and knows how to excel in his role. My number 11 player in this class is the 6'5" wing from Baylor, Jacoby Walter. Walter was one of my favorite freshmen coming into this year. He's really struggled with being an efficient player so far, but has greatly improved over the past few weeks. I think his biggest factor in being in my top 14 was just his intensity he plays with, both on offense and defense. You can tell that he wants it, and he's going to do his best to go out there and take it. Like I had mentioned, efficiency is a little bit of a concern with him, but I think a lot of NBA teams are going to be willing to try to work through this just to get a player with his physicality and aggression on the court onto their roster. My number 12 player is the 7'2" big man from UConn, Donovan Clingan. Clingan has been one of the more prominent players in college basketball this season, and I think I may be a little bit higher on him in draft circles than most people. I think that he gets undervalued for his switchability, and while you don't want him staying on teams on the outside, I do think he's effective when just having to step out before the original defender recovering. Good at hedging screens, better on the inside on both sides of the court, obviously. But I think he's one of the more impactful rim protectors in this class, and think a team would be getting a good backup big out of him if they decided to take him early. My number 13 player is Tejan Salon. Sorry if I butchered the name. But this 6'10 forward is still very raw, but one of the younger prospects in this draft class. He has shown the ability to do it all in terms of dribble, pass, shoot, and defend. Is not really well-rounded at anything in particular, but I think he's one of the better project prospects in this class and is definitely worth taking with a lottery pick. I could see his upside being anywhere from a solid role player to a couple times all-star, but definitely worth considering with a lottery pick. My number 14 player is the 6'6" guard from Tennessee, Dalton Knecht. In my opinion, Dalton Knecht has been the best player in college basketball this season, and I think he would be taken at a lottery pick, even if he is older, in a similar way that Buddy Hield was selected when he came out of Oklahoma. I think Dalton's elite skill at the next level is catch and shoot jumpers coming off of screens. The amount of off-ball action continues to increase in the NBA, and I just see Dalton as being able to translate to this from day one and becoming an effective offensive player, even if it does take him some time to get up to speed on the defensive side of the ball. That's going to wrap up the top 14 of my big board. So be sure to leave a comment of what you thought about my rankings, if you would have made any changes, or if you like what I have so far. Be sure to like and subscribe as well, and be sure to follow us on Twitter. But until next time, I'm Jace. Thanks for watching Plus Basketball.